and get in gear with a car loan from ACB. Drive away with a loan that fits you. Get up to 100% financing and 10 years to repay on a new or used car. Plus, get a pre-approved credit card. So rev up and get in gear with a Simply Smarter car loan. Call or visit us or go to acbonline.com for more.
ACB Caribbean, simply smarter banking.
Jingle your keys and get in gear with a car loan from ACB. Drive away with a loan that fits you. Get up to 100% financing and 10 years to repay on a new or used car. Plus, get a pre-approved credit card. So rev up and get in gear with a Simply Smarter car loan. Call or visit us or go to acbonline.com for more.
ACB Caribbean, simply smarter banking.
Jingle your keys and get in gear with a car loan from ACB. Drive away with a loan that fits you. Get up to 100% financing and 10 years to repay on a new or used car. Plus, get a pre-approved credit card. So rev up and get in gear with a Simply Smarter car loan. Call or visit us or go to acbonline.com for more.
ACB Caribbean, simply smarter banking.
Jingle your keys and get in gear with a car loan from ACB. Drive away with a loan that fits you. Get up to 100% financing and 10 years to repay on a new or used car. Plus, get a pre-approved credit card. So rev up and get in gear with a Simply Smarter car loan. Call or visit us or go to acbonline.com for more.
ACB Caribbean, simply smarter banking.
Jingle your keys and get in gear with a car loan from ACB. Drive away with a loan that fits you. Get up to 100% financing and 10 years to repay on a new or used car. Plus, get a pre-approved credit card. So rev up and get in gear with a Simply Smarter car loan. Call or visit us or go to acbonline.com for more.
ACB Caribbean, simply smarter banking.
Jingle your keys and get in gear with a car loan from ACB. Drive away with a loan that fits you. Get up to 100% financing and 10 years to repay.
And welcome to our 2025 season here in Antigua and Barbuda. First, I'm Kenny Benjamin here on the ACB Caribbean Network, and we're on Sports Lifeline. And I just want to say to everybody who is listening, who is watching, I just want to say that I wish you all the best in terms of health and strength, going forward. And I also want to say for 2025, I do hope that most of the things that you have planned for, that you actually get at least 95% of them completed. Tonight, we're going to be looking at sports in terms of the young people and what they want, what they should want, how they should go about doing it. So we have a youngster in the studio, in Michael Graves. Good evening to you, Michael.
Good evening.
I see Michael, he's sporting his Blackhawks things and so on, but he forgot to turn his mic on, so we'll start it over again. Good evening to you, Michael.
Good evening.
Now, Michael has played cricket. He has represented the Liberty Blackhawks. He has represented the Antigua on the 19s and the Leeward Islands on the 19s for a couple of years. He's now moved on from that, so he's now looking forward to his senior moments. But before I even say anything, I just want to say to the people who are listening, you can give us a call if you feel you want to ask Michael a question or interact with us on 772-9601. 772-9601. And a little bit later on, I'll give you the other number if you want to text or if you want to WhatsApp and be interactive with us. I just want us to look, starting the new year, with commitment. And what I've noticed, especially at the community level, there is no commitment. We see this in football where a team plays well from second division, they go into first division, and they go to the Premier Division, and they come back down into the first division, and all of a sudden they all want to leave and go and play for another community, another village. Now, if one really and truly believes that they're good enough and the national selectors are looking at them, it really doesn't matter what division you play. But what we're seeing is that people don't want to work towards building anything. They want it ready-made. Everybody wants to join the best team because they're thinking, if we win, I am going to say I win the championship. But nobody wants to stay in one place, build your community, build something that you can be proud of. I know, for instance, in the case of Michael here, Potters doesn't play cricket. And so he will probably have to go out to find a cricket team and whatever. Potters have a football team, so I would expect, being from Potters, that Michael would be committed to supporting the Potters football team, even though he's a member of a particular different club. And that is understood. But some people just do not support their communities. They do not get involved, they do not assist. And so it creates a problem where the community have to reach out on the outside to bring people in, and they don't get the support from the community because there are too many what they call outsiders in the community. I'm going to bring Michael in here, but I want to ask him this question in terms of the youths and sports. What are you looking forward to in 2025 as a young aspiring cricketer?
In sports or just cricket?
Well, you can tell us in cricket, and then you can tell us in general, what do you think it should be, and some of the things you believe you would like to see in terms of sports if we're going to make an impact here in Antigua and Barbuda.
Well, good night again to you and good night to the listeners. For me, for cricket, I personally think we can start back into the school system, look into the school system in terms of producing the young cricketers, and even also the communities, I think, have a big role, because how I started loving the game of cricket, I used to play on the streets in Scarce Pasture with my community, and we used to have a nice time. So I think that's what needs to be done. We need to go back to the basics and just go back to the basics, get those things done. And for other sports, really maybe more time can be spent with the youngsters in terms of developing. Like for the football, maybe have some camps for the youngsters. And even in cricket, any sport in general, you can have little camps, get everybody involved. Summer camps are so very vital. All these things can be done.
Okay, we'll just tell the people who want to share with their friends. They can find us on Facebook at ACB Caribbean Parish League, on YouTube as well at Antigua Parish League, and on Instagram at Antigua Parish League. Also on Twitter, Antigua at Antigua Parish League. Our other number is 722-43. That's our Zoom number, 722-435-2814. That's how you can get us on Zoom, and you can WhatsApp, or you can call us here if you want to ask Michael a question or two. 772 9601. Now, Michael has said that he used to play in the communities, and then he went and he played in the school and that sort of thing. Do you believe, Michael, that the young people really understand the importance of sports, what it can do for them, the opportunities available from playing sports, and the sort of jobs that it creates, and the impact that sports can have on the whole of Antigua and Barbuda?
Well, in my opinion, I think at a tender age, it shouldn't really be about the jobs at offer or your career. I think most of it comes from the love you have for the sport. And then as you get older, you will start to understand that, wait, I can make a living from this. So in my case, I never really understood about playing for West Indies and these things. I didn't know it was a big deal until I got old and I got the knowledge that I can make a career out of this and I can make a good living from it.
But when you look at what is happening in terms of the younger folks and so forth, even at local football, do you believe that we have lost, that mindset? Because when you look at football, even basketball and so on locally, we see a lot of people maybe leaving their community, joining other clubs for a small match fee. And so they're all around the place, moving from team to team because somebody offer you a little bit more next year. Is it good for community sports? Or are we saying that the players, like we mentioned, are only focusing on their benefit? Do you believe the young people of today, Michael, you're one of them, really and truly care a lot about community and community development?
The younger folks, I don't think so, because I don't think it was instilled in them. I don't think that they grew up in their community, like loving it, watching. Like for me, I used to watch Potter's Tigers. I used to watch them on the field when they were in first division. I used to watch them all the time once I was available to watch them. And that's where the love kind of grew. So if you have people not coming out and watching you, but also I think the older folks have a role to play as well in that. I think you can make the place a bit more welcoming to the younger generation. And on the fees and so on, I just think they just... When you have a phone and you have a tablet or wherever you may have, and you're seeing Jude Bellingham going for how much money and this, you feel like, what? I can do it. But it's not just like that these things happen. Over here is more of a community. And, if you see a different pathway or a better opportunity, then you might leave and go to our next club. But I just think it's getting overbearing right now because even in the football, one time a guy playing for this club and then the next transfer window he playing for the next club and then the next transfer window he playing the next club. So I think it's getting very overbearing right now.
Now, at the end of the day, the authorities didn't do anything about that. They let it sort of fester. Now we have teams bringing in 7 and 8 and so forth, overseas player. But we are now understanding that basketball will be doing a similar thing, bringing in players, and if the clubs want them, they have to put them up and sort of spend some money. Now, in terms of what we're seeing for cricket, we know that only particular tournaments, like for instance the 2020 tournaments, we used to see people bring in some players for their teams to try and boost the team and so forth. But we are not seeing that so much in terms of the other games. Michael, the Leeward Islands Hurricanes is based in Antigua. They're now in preparation mode for the 40. They're practicing. What sort of impact you usually think this can be to Antigua and Barbuda? How can this impact young people? How can it inspire them, like you mentioned, You know, to want to be another Raheem Cornwall, another Hayden Walsh Jr., another Alzari Joseph, and so on. Is that something that the fact that the Hurricanes are now based here, we may see a lot more youngsters wanting to come out and see how these guys really wanting to be like them?
Well, it can be. It can be for people who are passionate about the sport and want it. But if you don't really want something, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter who is there, or it could be right in front of your face, you know. But it's only for the ones that are passionate and see something from it. So I think maybe, to answer your question, maybe more. I always feel, for me, like the elderly people have an impact on the youth. So I think if they learn at a tender age about what the sport can do for you, you know, I think it will be better that we would have more numbers and so on out.
It is more like bending the tree when it's early,
Yes, basically.
rather than trying to wait until it's too old.
Old too.
Where if you try and bend it, then it cracks.
Yes.
You
And
know?
and about your statement on the football where a team, yes, I don't really like that I watch some teams and they bring in about 7, because I follow the football, they bring in about 7 players and so on, and I think it's ridiculous. I think they should have a limit where how much players you should have, how much overseas players you should have on a team, because who have the money is going to benefit them, but the teams or in the communities that don't have the money, it's basically like a West Indies team playing against some village team.
A lot of the people at the executive level and so forth, they are not too keen to make this change that you spoke about, putting a cap on the overseas player. Now, for me, I think there's a little bit of incompetency there, because once you cannot understand what I need to do to develop the sport, then that is where you think by bringing in outside players and people hearing that. One time the president used to say that the Premier League is the best league in the Caribbean. Everybody wants to come here and play. Everybody wants to come here and play because it is easy money. When they come here and play, some of these players would have not made some of the local teams. And we've heard that cry. But they're good enough to be paid fully to play for a local team.
Well, I watch some of them, and I always think that if they were so good, what they're doing down in Antigua is not known for football. That's just my opinion. Antigua is not known for football, so I really don't understand that. But I think we need to develop the youngsters, give them more opportunities. You know, because I used to go to school with some of these guys, and seeing them playing at the Premier League, I'm happy to know that, you know, they're playing and they're getting an opportunity to show their skill. And I think that's how we can develop them as well. That's just one method. You can see what they can do. Not because you bring in 4 or 5 guys, then the youngsters from the village going to go obviously and look at next team to play for, because they know they can't make that team. And that's where everything really starts.
And you would have still been in a hole, because what you did, you didn't really solve any problem. You just put a plaster over the injury, because rather than, like you mentioned, developing your own, you're importing players, and so at the end of the day, you will start to see the pushback from the local community.
Mm-hmm. I just think it's a lack of patience.
I think it is more ego, because at the end of the day, when you win, it's sort of a, you know, you puff your chest.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the winning coach, I'm the winning captain. But at the end of the day, when you look at it, you get some money from the Football Association, and most of it goes back to pay the bills. I can remember in 2018, 2019, the Liberty Blackhawks won the Premier Division Championship. And our intake overall, Michael, T-shirts, car raffle, everything, was about almost $80,000. You know? And Michael, what we intake was about that, and what we spent, Michael, was over 100,000. We had about 6 overseas players here. You had to pay their rent, you got to feed them, you got to pay them, and all these sort of things. And so I know for a fact it is not worth it. It is not worth it financially. It is not worth it in terms of nationally. We are not really giving our young footballers an opportunity to go and shine. They have to play second fiddle to some of these overseas players.
Yes, and that's why we're gonna see a lot of players in the team, and then we expect a result, like when Antigua go abroad. But if we have the same people for 4 or 5 years, because these are what the selectors are seeing, we're not seeing any youngsters because they can't make the team because they have the overseas coming in. So then we're gonna see as you said, the hole is just getting deeper and deeper and deeper.
Well, the whole situation about that is, I don't believe nobody really cares about the young sportsmen. That is my belief. Nobody really cares about them, or else we would make sure when that time comes around for them to go and play at the highest level, things would be in place in terms of good club structure, infrastructure would be up there. But the young people, like you mentioned, do not want to play because there is no motivation.
Sean, yes.
There is nothing to captivate them to say, hey, I want to play because, boy, a nice field up the road there, or a nice basketball court is here, and so forth. We are still struggling in 2025 to nail down a plan for infrastructure. And that is very, 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 very crucial, So that is not something that I hope we can continue to say. I'm hoping that one of these nights we're going to come and say they have done it. They have started some work developing some infrastructure, and we would like to applaud them. That is what I would like to happen on this program. But as it stands, we're not seeing it. We are not seeing it at all. But Michael, I just want to ask you something here. What has the off season been for you? What have you been doing since the end of the last cricket season?
Well, the off season for me, I think, was very good. What I did better from what I did from the previous off season was I was a bit more intentional in what I wanted to do. So I knew I wanted to get stronger. I knew I wanted to get quicker. So I put things in place, and I just stick to the plan. And I just feel ready. Like if the tournament starts tomorrow, I feel like I'm ready. I feel like I'm fit enough and ready to perform.
The Leeward Islands is actually here, like I mentioned early on in training session. Have you been invited to the camp? Are you going to be around?
Well, I'm not sure. I haven't got any call as yet, but I'm hoping that I can get a call. I'm hoping for that.
You had a pretty decent season last year, scoring some 800 runs, combining the 40 overs and the ACB to the competition. Are you looking to surpass that this year?
Yes. Over at Liberta, we set very high standards over there, and I think it's just right for me to continue where I left off from last season. Yes, things might be different. I might be a different person, but once I set the high standards, I know I'm going to pass them this year.
Wow, that is something extraordinary that I'm hearing there. Now, when I cast my mind back, and early on we had touched on that, for a young sportsman aspiring, are you happy with the infrastructure that we have here in Antigua for sports in general? Are you happy with what you have to play sports on?
In general?
In general.
Well, for cricket, certain grounds are good. Certain grounds are everything needs improvement. So I only can speak for cricket viewers because that's what I mostly play. Well, that's what I play. So I wouldn't know how a footballer feel on certain fields. So can't speak about that. But for the cricket, improvements can be made, definitely. But I'm satisfied because I do understand that when you're at a certain level, you're supposed to expect certain things. So if we were a professional level, then I would understand. But certain people, I understand for the cricket because you get someone is helping out fixing a pitch, someone is helping out doing this, somebody help out and do that. So you might not get the consistency, or what I can say, like you wouldn't get the consistency in terms of a pitch, or the field might be cut at a certain time. But I think once the community come together, it can work out and it can get better.
School sports, Michael, I'm going to ask you this. What role should school sports play in the development of the young athletes?
I think they're supposed to play a major role. I think that is where you're supposed to really see the young athletes. In my opinion, that is where you're supposed to really be looking for the youngsters, because yes, a youngster can be good enough to play at the senior level and represent their community, but they will not be getting the same opportunity as they will be getting among their age group. So I think that is where they're supposed to be looking for the youngsters and looking to hammer down in developing the youngsters.
I know that I've asked you to give me an overview, but when we come back from the break, I'm going to ask you about the pathway. Sports in general, we can look at cricket, but I want us to talk about the pathway from under 13s all the way up to the Leeward Islands men's senior team. But we're due for a break, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Jingle your keys and get in gear with a car.
And we're back. Thank you for staying with us. And we're here tonight with Michael Graves, my co-host Arlene Josiah. she had a really busy day today, so she is not with us tonight. But obviously, as we go along, we will see more and more and more and more of her. Why do you play sports, Michael?
Because I love the sport of cricket, and I love football. That's why I play them.
You love football.
Yes, I
How,
do.
how good are you at football?
A wise man once said, "You don't say how good you are; you make someone say that for you." So
So a wise man say as well that the trumpet is a very personal instrument, and if you don't blow it, nobody's going to blow it for you. So then we have those two sayings to contend with. Whether you're not going to say anything and hope that one of these days something goes your way, or B, where the person gets a trumpet and they make beautiful music and the hearing goes away. So when you look, you see definitely there is merit for having both of those sporting events, both of those
sayings.
you know.
What I can say is that I knew the basics of football. I was taught the basics, and I understand the game to an extent. So that's all I can say. But I wouldn't say I was remarkable or skilled and whatever the case may be. Probably if you see me on a football field, you might say that, but I wouldn't tell you that.
We are now seeing that the new year is upon us. Well, we're actually in the new year. We know that the Antigua and Barbuda Cricket Association, they were supposed to hold a meeting to discuss the season. They actually have done it. I am now hearing it as a hearsay that they may start the tournament this coming weekend with the T20. How important is it, Michael, in terms of preparation before a game, before a season?
To know when it's starting?
Yeah, just to know, how important it is, in terms of knowing, what time the season is going to start, so you can tell yourself what time you have to get yourself in tip-top shape. How the importance of early notice is to you?
To me, it's very vital, especially this off season. It was very vital to me because the time span of putting in work, so you know what workload to do, especially when you're trying to be intentional about it like I was. It's very important to know that it's playing in February, so I can know when to do this, when not to do that, because you don't want the season start in February and you're doing some hard sprinting in September next year, your hamstring blowy, and these things can happen. So it's very important that we know when the season is starting, and I think that is a challenge we've been having from since I'm playing cricket. And it's a struggle that as a youngster, aspiring professional cricketer, you want to know these things so you can be prepared. You want to be as close to as a professional as you can be. So you're gonna do the little thing, you're gonna do your little running, your little gym work. So you can at least feel like you're doing something to get better. Nothing you don't know. And some of us youngsters don't have the same mentality as I do, that they might just wait until something's starting, then they put in the work. And there's only a few of us are going to just be putting in the work consistently because we know what we want. Not a lot of people know what they want. So I think it's very important that they have the information so they can know.
Very, very, very fair. I want us to stick with you a little bit more. What is Michael Graves like? What are your hobbies when you're not playing cricket? When you're not like you say relaxing? What is it that takes up your mind?
Takes up my mind.
What is it that you do when you're on the downtime? Like for instance, the off season when there's not a lot of cricket about. How do you spend your afternoons and your days and so forth?
Well, I'm still training, but now that Potters are in the Premier League, I've been going and watch their games, so that kind of takes my mind off of the cricket a bit. Also spending time with my family, that and all, that helps me keep my mind a bit off the cricket. But because they know I love the sport, it still boils back down to them. We speaking about cricket, so it's kind of, when you love something, it's kind of hard to run from it. It's kind of hard to like stay away from it. I don't try to stay away from cricket. I don't try not to talk about cricket. I want to know as much as I can. I don't reach that stage as yet where I need a break from cricket. So everything I do right now, it has cricket involved because that is what I want.
Well, I'm sorry there. Let me just apologize. They had a rough day. Michael is laughing. The Leeward Islands team, they gave us this late notice, and they came over by us this morning. I was up at after 5:30 trying to get the place ready. I had a full day. Michael didn't come and help me, and then here I am again on screen. Michael laughing away, So let me just apologize there for me. But Michael, in terms of looking ahead though, we have been having some challenges with the Leeward Islands team. They're here and they're out at Liberta and they're having their sessions out there. There seems to be some issue up at the Vivid Stadium in terms of the availability. Now you have Sir Viv Richards Cricket Stadium. That is what it is. And you have the Leeward Islands Hurricanes, which after the West Indies, it is the top team in the sub-region in the Leeward Islands. Now, I have been calling now for quite a few years that the combined schools team should be based up at the stadium. It should be an opportunity for them to play there. It should be an opportunity to use the facilities so that people know that it is in use. And when you have a place like that, the more you use it, the easier it is to maintain. Is it a cause for concern that because we have to call them our top team in the sub-region, is it a cause for concern that they're now based in Antigua? They're almost 95% based in Antigua. And we were seeing an issue where it is time for them, starting today, to get ready for the Cricket West Indies 4-day championship. But there are issues in terms of them having access to the Sir Viv Richards Stadium. What does that say for the future of the Hurricanes in Antigua?
Well, that's a question that I haven't really thought about.
Do you think that they should be playing there? Do you think that is where if you were part of the Leeward Islands Hurricanes and you're getting ready to play in the West Indies 4-day championship, it is a big thing because that is the next step.
Yes.
There's only one tier after that, and that is international. If you were participating as a part of the Hurricanes, would you want to make sure that you're playing at the venue, or at least one of the venue where you're going to be playing matches, getting accustomed to it? And not just that, it is the best place for them. It got the most resources in terms of human resource, in terms of equipment, and that sort of thing. It is one of the two venues that we have that have a full staff, that everything can be in place, everything can be monitored and make sure that things are in place. Which would you prefer? That, or you go out, and we know that the Liberta ground in Barbeef is fairly decent, but we don't have the sort of resources. And for a team that is getting ready for the 4-day championship, you're wondering where you stand. You cannot be at peace with the situation that is happening. Well, so would you believe as a youngster that you should have been practicing where the best opportunities and the best resources are?
Yes, I think that there's supposed to be. That's supposed to be. Well, I don't know the situation with them and the stadium, but I think that's supposed to be their priority. Seeing that the Leeward Islands is here, it's not a secret anymore. The Leeward Islands cricket board is here in Antigua, so I think that should have been their main priority to get there ready. You know, even if the Leeward Island cricket board might have contacted them or maybe contacted them later, they should have maybe even made their own calls if they're so interested in the cricket. I think they should have done that. But I think also that's why we should have venues that are, at least up to standard, where if the stadium is not available, and for a good reason they're not available, that, they have somewhere else to go that has bathrooms, the basic things, and, maybe an extra, maybe a bowling machine or something that they can work with. I think that is important. And if other clubs can see that vision, it would make the cricket better in Antigua.
I think you're right. I believe that seeing a vision is one. The will. I am just wondering, and you play. When you play amongst the local players and you play amongst the local teams and clubs and so forth, is there a sense of wanting to be better? Are you seeing that they would like to be better than where they are? Do you feel that sense of urgency of wanting to make sure that if Michael comes back to my particular club or particular venue next year, that there'll be something in terms of that? Do you hear that sort of talk, that buzz amongst the younger folks? Or is it just that, hey, when the cricket comes along, we play, we have a good time, and we move on to the next day? What is it? What is it like from that sort of age group? What type of discussion do they have? Do you all have at that age group, Michael, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of making an impact of sports, making an impact on the front? What's the discussion entails?
Well, I haven't really have any discussions with any other younger, my age group about infrastructure. Well, I've had discussions with older people.
So you're saying that at that age group, it isn't a topic that is being discussed?
No, it's not a topic. But what I can say is the cricket itself is being discussed, and obviously they want to get better at their cricket. But sometimes I always say that sometimes I feel a bit sorry for some of the teams when they play against the Blackhawks. And then sometimes I say I don't feel sorry too, because you can put in the work as well. Because when you look at our team and our structure, you have young guys coming through, and then you still have other guys. So sometimes when a team might have us down, and they might see Kadim coming in at number 8, number 10, who can do something with the bat for us. Or you have Joshua Thomas coming in. And then people that can still hold their own with the bat. And it doesn't come overnight. I didn't think the Liberta Sports Club, I'm not from Liberta, but I don't think it came overnight. I think they had things in place. And you can tell me about a little more history about the club, if it came overnight, or was it something you guys was intentional about?
Well, the thing about it is that when I was much younger, a lot younger, when I had hair and so forth, I remember playing cricket, football, basketball, and volleyball, and tennis for the Liberty Sports Club. Now that was 5 clubs. So you have to pay 5 registration fee every year. I was a young boy, didn't have those sort of things at my disposal, those monies. Now, one day, some guys came from a football game and they decided that they want to sack the coach. And I sat down there as a youngster and I listened and I said, that is harsh. I don't think the players should determine who coach them. I think the administrators should be the ones that say, look, this guy is the coach, and if he's not doing a good job, the same people thank him for his time and sack him. And when I heard that, I said, what we actually need in the community is one body to govern sports in the community. And that was like in the early 90, in 1990. And so we tried to meet with all the other presidents from all the other clubs and so forth to say, look, what we need is a one body. Rather than we have 5 presidents and 5 secretaries, what we need is a one body to run sports in the community. That one body will be responsible for the development of infrastructure, the development of the human resource, and the development of the athletes. And it took us a while to get around because, you know, some of the presidents didn't want necessarily to give up their power. And so in doing that, in merging everything into one, you know, that would have happened. So to start what we did, we actually campaigned well and make sure some of the presidents got back at least vice president. So they were still in some sort of leadership role, and it sort of took off in terms of support, and everybody felt it was new, it was refreshing, and everybody wanted to be a part of this new phenomenon. It worked out really well, and like you said, it took some time to grow. But one of the things that I found out is that because it is one body, and they're looking about infrastructure and development, when that body comes together and say, look, we think the field need an upgrade, then that is everybody. But if you had a football club and a cricket club, and the cricket club said, we want better fields because you know, the ball is bouncing, and the footballers may turn and say, hey, we don't have a problem with it. When we come out, we still play, and we don't have no problem. Then what would happen, Michael, is that the cricketers would be very much afraid to do any development.
Yes.
Because they know the footballers will just come and play and will not maintain. And so, like you mentioned, it took some time for everything to be sold to the general public. But once it was sold and they were bought into it, you know, we were on our way sailing. And like you say, it took time to reach where it is, and it's going to take more time to get it close to what we really would like it to be. So it is time consuming, but worth every effort.
Thank you. Very good.
When I look at the other situation, Michael, we see communities like Potter, diverse communities, because on one hand, there is baseball. On another hand, there is softball cricket. And on another hand, there is the Potter's Tigers. How do they share the space? Do they have that sort of a camaraderie, that relationship that they can all come together? And you're a Potter man, maybe you can tell me, and determine how they're going to share the space? Or is it that somebody just takes somebody and just put them there? What is it like? Was it a dialogue? Do you know anything of that?
Well, I'm not quite sure if the football and the cricket is together, but I know the football and the basketball is under one body. The baseball, I actually don't know about that. That's probably those Spanish people.
But why don't you know about it and it is in your village?
Yes, because I know that they play every Sunday, but I don't know if they are together with the football, or if they choose. I don't know if because people don't play baseball in Antigua or so, the softball they call it. You know, I don't know, but I think it's very interesting. I think if I was a bit younger, I would have, go and play some softball with them just to have some fun.
So you're saying you don't play softball?
No, I don't play softball like the baseball.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what they call it. It's not actual baseball they're playing. It's softball, but where they do underhand.
Do they bowl underarm?
Yes, like this. So, yes, if I was younger, I would probably go and play with them and, to learn about a new sport and so on.
Is it too late?
It's not too late, but when you want something, sometimes you just have to just focus on one thing. Nothing is wrong if you try out new things, but I don't think now I would go and do that.
Okay, we talk about sports and we're generalizing because we are having issues in terms of infrastructure, in terms of youth programs. When you look at what is happening in terms of the sports in Antigua and Barbuda, and then you look at what should be the youth playing, where there's no program in place, then they get up and they get an opportunity and they make it to the National Association to play in sub-regional competitions or regional competitions. How would you like to see? What sort of structure would you like to see in terms of youth sports? There are so many youths playing on the streets and, has lost it because there's no alternatives. What say you? What would you like to see, Michael, as a young man? What would please your heart when you look back and you see X, Y, and Z being put in place? Young people are making strides. Young people are benefiting. What is it that you believe that government and the sporting associations can do to bring that to life?
Well, I think it's very basic, I just think, first of all, we need to go back to our seasons where it's cricket season and it's football season, so you don't have a clash there. That's the first thing I think needs to go in place. And then for the youngsters, because I say that because when you're at a tender age, you should try out anything. You should try football, basketball. As you said, you played 5 sports. And
look at where I am today.
All right, so so you should try out once things are in place, like what you're asking me now, what should be in place. It's basics. I think the community can do it, or even the clubs, even Potters, Tigers, if they're so interested in carrying the youths, they can set back and say, okay, every Saturday, get out the message. The youths will be having this under 13, under 15, whatever the case may be. They will be practicing on a Saturday morning. If you're so interested in the youths, these things can be. It don't have to take a whole body. It can take one person to start it. One person can start it, and people can follow along. You're surprised to see how much people are interested in developing the youths as well. So, I think that's how we can start.
I know for a fact that once you have those toddlers coming, a high percentage of the time, the parents are coming.
Yes.
Aunties coming, cousins coming, and so that is what. Just like when you started, there was a whole entourage behind of you every game that you would go. There was a whole entourage behind of you, and so it goes to show that the parents still support the children. Once the child have to go and play at a certain level, even though it's under 13s or 15 and so on, the parents would go and they would say to their neighbors as well, hey, come and support my son, he's playing so and so and so. Mm-hmm. So that is something that is very critical, and we know that wherever you have the children playing sports and the parents are going to support, they're going to go and support all
yes.
time. All the time, they're going to go and they're going to support, especially if the child is someone with extra talent and so forth, they're going to boast when he score goal.
Yes.
And say, that's my son, and so forth. So I just believe that the time is right for us to mandate the parents to make sure that whenever there are youth programs that they go and support, it is nice for the young people to look around and to see that there is support for me. Mom is here, dad is here.
Yes.
And it also helps to keep them in check.
Yes.
Because we know children these days, they're very hyper. And we cannot always keep an eye on them, especially when we're busy preparing something for a match or whatever. But I just want to say to the parents, please, when the opportunity comes along for you to jumpstart your boy or girl's career, I think that it is something that you need to do. We're going to take a break, Michael. We're going to take a break. And so we will go and make some money downtown with some commercials, and then we'll be right back. And we're back. We're back for our final little. And I know I just want to bring Michael in here to engage in something that happened over the weekend to find out how important they are. But I know that you had said that you wanted to ask a question. So you can do that and then we'll get on to to what happened in the last.
Yes, I would like to ask you a question. You've been speaking to me about the youths and what we discuss. And I do think we have a very important role in our future. But I would like to know, how do you or guys like you or even females can make an impact in the youths? What do you think elderly people can do to make an impact?
Well, let me say that that is a good question that you asked there. And I'm happy that you did, because a lot of people are pointing fingers at youngsters. Oh, they're this, they don't want that, they have no ambition, they don't want. But you go around any community that gives an opportunity. You go around any individual, any adults who put something in place for children, and you see the children participate.
That's true.
I don't believe that the children of today, have the same mindset in terms of what happened 40 years ago, or 50 years ago, or even 60 years ago. Because things have changed. And so they're now growing up with a lot more opportunities. There is the internet, there is television, there is so many other games,
Yes.
computer games and so forth. And so they get pushed into them very early from at home. So that is what they know.
Yes.
That is what they know. In our time, what we knew was what we saw. We go down, we see guys playing cricket, we like it, we try it, we play it, because that was what was there. Those were the opportunities that we have. So if we, from that era, believe that your generation and after needs to do more sporting stuff and games and so forth, what we need to do is to create the opportunity. So in answering your question as to what is it that I believe my peer, my age group can do to have an impact on the younger generation, your generation and beyond, is to make ourselves available to create opportunities and to support the younger generation whenever that support is needed. What we are getting from my age group now, Michael, is what I call artificially busyness and laziness, where they're too artificially busy to find the time to oversee a couple of young boys practicing, or to mentor 2 boys or 2 girls, that sort of thing. And when you really and truly check what they're doing, it is really nothing. So I have a saying for that, where we call it, they are artificially busy. Because administrating at the community level is not time consuming. And I make this point where my secretary says she spends about half an hour a week doing the sports club business comprehensively, doing it fully. She checks the emails, she calls me if there is something to ask, whatever. If there's money to deposit, she take it to the treasurer in the bank and he does what he's got to do. She answers any mails that comes in that needed to be answered if she thinks she can do it, or if she thinks she needs some advice or some input from one of the other executive members. And it takes her half an hour a week, Michael. That is what? 6, that is 5 minutes a day. And the work is done. So with technology and social media, we don't need to sit down in a room for an hour.
That's true.
To plan something, to have a discussion with someone meaningfully. And so the question beckons, and the question, I hope it answers this, is that I think we need to create more opportunities for the young people. Make ourselves available more so that they can feel that, look, I'm not just playing sports. Somebody actually here have an interest in me and want to see me excel. That will be enough driving power to let them want to continue and want to do better.
Very good. And I think also that you guys have a big role to play in the youngsters because, certain players might get on bad and so on and on the field and then in their time and then a youngster might see it and then I think your action, you need to be more careful of your action, what you do, what you say in front of youngsters because they will run with it. They will run. Everyone was young, and if you hear your mom or your father say something, you feel like you can say it too. So I think your action speaks a lot. And I think also around the cricket or even maybe football, some guys that come around and so on, I think what they do is like say what they used to do back in their time and kind of like bring us down, like, oh, we're not doing this, on, oh, cricket used to be better and so on. No, try to encourage. If you're wrong, fine, you're wrong, you're trying to help. Why should you be comparing? Yes, these conversations will come because, I can't control you what you want to say, but I think you could be a bit more helpful first. Then you can probably tell your past experience or what you have done or so on. That's just my take for the older folks to help the younger generation.
Well, I think that you have a point, but we have to look and try and understand too that dealing with certain situations require certain skills, and skills come from training and development and so on. Now, what you mentioned there, I've seen and heard that a lot of the past players would go and say, oh, in my time. Mm-hmm. Now, a lot of the current day players do not want to hear that because your time was your time. But it is, to me, lack of training, lack of understanding, because that is not what Michael wants to hear. I don't want to go and say, Michael, in my time, when these guys were bowling medium pace, I used to just step into them and hit them over. What I need to come and say to you is, Michael, you ever considering maybe when you meet this type of pace bowling, you step in and hit it? And depends on your answer. You may say, boy, I never think about that. And I may then say, it is something for you to practice, Michael. I think you have the ability that, this type of bowling, you should be able to hit this guy back over his head and so on. Don't bring in what you did. That is irrelevant there. What you need to do is to encourage Michael that, look, I think that you can do this thing. I think you need to step in. So I believe it comes from lack of training and lack of understanding. So when they approach the young people, what they do, they speak about what they're comfortable with.
Yes.
And what they're comfortable with is what they used to do when they were playing.
Okay, that answers a lot because I think that times have changed, and for me, I'm a very open person. I want to hear what you have to say, but when you come to me and talking to me, or you used to do this and you used to do that, and to me it's a turn off. So I think maybe a different approach to it help me say, okay, I see you doing this, and you can probably do this better. But when you come to me and tell me, boy, I used to do this and I used to do that, it's a turn off to me.
And the whole thing is about education, and I believe that once it gets around and you speak to the younger folks too, I think they will understand as well that, listen, somebody's coming to you who's not a coach, they want to help, but they probably don't know from what angle and how to get their point across. So they will probably come, and that sometimes can be icebreaker. Yeah. So sometimes it is deserving of the individual to sit down and give them an ear. Yes. At the end of the day, they may add a few things within that self-praising that is beneficial to them. And so it takes me back to the point about education. And I do not believe either, Michael, that our young sporting people, boys and girls, I don't believe they're educating them enough about the sport, the particular sport. They need to know the rules. They need to understand the bylaws. They need to know what an offside is and all these type of things. Why is someone offside? And because if you understand the game, Michael, I believe you'll play it better.
I think that is very true because when you know the rules of the game, you kind of okay. For instance, football and offside. If you know that you're going to be offside, unless you're playing a little catch-up game on a Sunday. If you're playing like an actual practice, you'll actually try to keep yourself onside because you know in the game that you will be offside. Same thing with cricket. I mean, LB is going to be a bit different when you're playing that because you need an umpire and these things, but certain things you just need to know the knowledge of the game, and I think for me that's very important. I think at a young age I got to know field placement, the name of the field, and I took pride in it because I never wanted to be the one that somebody tell me go to mid-off and I looking around and I don't even know where to go. So I always took pride in learning about the game. And I think everyone can learn the game. Everyone might not complete to a good level, but everyone can learn the game and understand the game. So I think that's what they should do as the first step.
Well, I'm just looking here at something that happened over the weekend. Okay? Now, this was a game that was played at Ball Beef between the Blackhawks. You weren't there, you missed out.
Unfortunately.
And what they call themselves the English Harbour Rays.
Okay.
Now, these are a bunch of some residents, some visitors, and they are all from the English Harbour area. And they wanted to play a game of cricket. Some of them went back today, and they just wanted a good time and to mix with the local boys and so forth. And we had such a wonderful time yesterday afternoon. They played a T20 game. They got a box. They went around. Michael, it was a generous donation. From the box only, we picked up about over $3,000 just from the box. And plus, they're wiring some more funds to their account that people who were there didn't have cash and so on. But what was instrumental about that, Michael, is that the people who are going to really and truly benefit, the people who are going to benefit, Michael, we did not see them coming out. The community didn't come out. We didn't see anyone from the cricket fraternity, the local clubs. We didn't see that. And I believe a poster was done, a poster was sent out. And so it was the first cricket game locally, and one wonders, what is the season going to be like? Obviously, there's a lot of rain been falling. We understand that and this is just the hearsay, that the Cricket Association wants to start a particular T20 tournament or T10 tournament on the weekend without meeting with the clubs and without really and truly saying to them, look, you need to start to practice this. You need to start to practice this. So it is very crucial that these type of matches be played. To me, like this is like a pre-season, Michael. So the people there who will be affected, the Blackhawks players, they can now say they have some cricket under their belt. Because they would have participated in this match. And I would like to see this as a part of the ABCA season, Michael, pre-season matches, where you say to all the teams, look, you have to play at least 2 or 3 practice matches before the season starts. We will tell you in November what time the season starts and the type of format that we want to start the season with, so that when the time comes around, you can assist clubs with a little thing and so on. But you cannot just from nothing to just say that next weekend we're going to be playing some cricket. There are too many teams and individuals that will be caught with their pants down. There has to be some dialogue. There has to be some understanding from the players and so forth and the coaches that, look, our venue can be ready. Our players are fairly okay. They have been playing cricket and so forth. And it cannot just be that we just go out and start a season where guys are at the risk of getting injuries and so forth. So you, in your own views, what do you think in terms of the timing? What sort of time? Even though you're training off season,
Yes.
just putting in the work. Now this is match that we're talking about. How many times do you think that the association should give to clubs and so forth and say, listen, the club is the season is starting in a week or two or a month or two. This is the format, and then you can let them start to prepare. How critical is that? Because I want you to go on to tell us how long it takes you to prepare, what time frame you think you need to feel confident that you're ready to play some domestic cricket.
Well, first of all, I think the association needs to get the message out at least a month ahead of time. That's my opinion. I think we should get a month ahead of time. But for you, in terms of preparation, it does take a while depending on what you want to achieve. So for me, I would like to achieve better than what I did last year, or even more than that. So I try my best to push myself to a limit. And right now, I don't have a per se timing like when I'm going to be match 100% ready, because I don't have the, you would say, facilities. But what I do have is people telling me, like Kareem Agua, who was, a professional, and even my friends like Amal Nathaniel, Rakeem Cornwall, Hayden Walsh. These guys try to help me to set up myself to be a better person in terms of my cricketing, and they trying to give me a little knowledge about it, about where they're at in terms of the professionalism about the sport. So I think I think practice match is important as well too. Match time is very important if you want quality in your competition. I think but I do not think that the ABCA should be like set a rule for that. I don't think they should say, oh yeah, you guys need to play 5 practice matches or so on. I think that should be the club's interest. So I think if Liberty Blackhawks want to play some practice matches, they should contact a next club or even contact some other players, make up, because that's their interest. I just think all the ABCA needs to do is tell us when they should, when the tournament will be starting and what format, so we can know, so we can be prepared. Okay, don't make sense you tell us they're going to be starting in January the 3rd, and you don't tell us what format. So these things are very important.
I hear you, and I just want to add something in terms of what you mentioned. It is not for the ABCA to stipulate,
Yes.
and to say, look, you have to play. It is for them to encourage, because at the end of the day, it is their product.
Yes.
And if you get practice matches in, it simply means the clubs are getting themselves ready earlier. So that would be good on your behalf as well. It simply means as well the clubs are getting in a couple extra matches, which can help to increase quality, because they're playing extra 2 or 3 matches. So it is not for the ABCA to say, look, I'm doing a fixer for friendly games, or
Yes.
you need to go and play. It is for them to encourage and say, look, listen, what we are suggesting is that we're going to start with the Super 40. It will be nice if all the teams can get in 4 practice matches.
Yes.
Here's what's going to happen. We're going to start the competition at the end of January, and they're telling you this like in November.
Yes.
So we're giving you the rest of November, December, and maybe the first 2 weeks in January to get yourself together, play a couple of practice matches, and so by the time we roll out in the end of January, it will be a smooth transition of people who are playing cricket. You understand?
Yes.
Just all of a sudden now start playing a particular competition.
Yes. And I also think that the ABCA should work together with the Leeward Islands Cricket Board, seeing that they're here now, that they should work with them. So let's say the Leeward Islands Cricket Board are planning to have a 3-day tournament and you don't start any competitions yet. I think it's wise for them to say, okay, 3-day tournament, we have a local 2-day here. Let's help our boys in getting ready and prepared so we can have more selections in the Leeward Islands franchise team. So I think that can help and they can work together per se. I think that could be a good idea.
I believe that there's going to be some collaboration. You know, I have actually heard the chairman of the Leeward Islands board saying that they are going to be making sure that the players from the Leeward Islands are spread evenly
among the local teams.
Yes, obviously there was some misunderstanding because I understand that they were thinking that the Leeward Island players would be taken and be divided up, but it was misunderstood, I believe, by some people. But when you look at the Leeward Islands team and the Blackhawks, there's Raheem Cornwall,
yes,
there's Hayden Walsh Jr., there is Kofi James, there is Kareem Agor, and then there's Javier Spencer.
Yes.
Now, all of those guys are Blackhawks players.
Yes.
But they're from Antigua. They play for the Blackhawks. So they were believing that they were saying all those players have to go in a pool and go into. And I was saying no.
Well, you just have to pick sense out of nonsense.
We only have two because Jamal Hamilton plays for the Blackhawks when he's here, and Shamiko Landefort, he started in Antigua with the Blackhawks as well.
Yes.
So that will be two players from the Leeward Islands that is with the Blackhawks. People like Mikhail Louis, he's with Empire Nation.
Yes.
And you have other guys. I think Casey Carty played with All Saints, Pythons, and Jeremiah Louis as well.
Well, yes.
And so it would make for good interest if when these guys are not playing or representing the Leeward Islands and they're in Antigua, that they go out and play some cricket. It would be nice for them to play some 3-day cricket where we'll get to see their skill and hopefully they can bring along a couple of youngsters. All the formats, I think, would be nice if they can participate whenever they're here.
Here, yes.
But I think it will be the 2-day that will be really crucial because the last 3 years, the Blackhawks won the 2-day competition, Michael, but I believe that the quality is not great. And I know people may think that why you complaining and the Blackhawks is winning, but the more quality, the better the quality for Michael, the better.
The easier it is for me to perform at the next level.
This fella, somebody was asking, who is your guest? Is Michael Graves. He's the Blackhawks player. He represented Leeward Islands under 19, Antigua under 19, and he got into the Antigua trials this year, but didn't really get in. Did well last year, got over 800 runs in the domestic competition. As I say good night to you, Mary Sanders, I came looking for you the other day. They said that you were away on a cruise. I hope that you enjoy your cruise. I hope that you really enjoy your time and that you had a very, very good time. And I can see my co-host here is saying good night. She stood me up again tonight, Michael. But I'm sure.
So you don't think I'm doing a good job as co-host?
I think you're doing a good job. I am considering speaking to the organizers to see if I can have you come in more often.
Well, you see, that is what we're speaking about here. That's what we're speaking about.
And this is all a part of it. And you can tell me how important it is in terms of your confidence that you can come on the social media platform, and you can interact with sports. How do you think that is in terms of confidence and taking this confidence out onto the field of play?
Well, can I tell you a joke? My family always say I like to talk a lot, and they say if I don't become a cricketer, I must become a commentator. So this here is I like these kind of stuff because you're just sharing your opinion on things, and you're just really talking, and especially with someone as Kenny here who has the knowledge about certain things. It makes it a bit easier for you. So I'm happy that I am here, but this is what we're talking about. If we can have the older guys with the younger guys, grooming them, then it should be easier for the younger guys to gravitate to anything that they're being groomed to. So for instance, the sports, if you look up to someone in the football, and they can probably take them under their wing and show them the correct ways of doing things, and doing things the right way, how you should do it, what you should do. And I think it's very important, especially in the communities. It's very important for guys like Raheem Cornwall and Hayden Walsh to come back to the communities and give all the knowledge that they have, because it's going to help young aspiring cricketers. Trust me, the little knowledge would help. And I do like the fact that Raheem comes around a lot, even Hayden as well, because it's nice to know that someone at the highest level, that plays at the highest level, can come back here and give you a little pointers. They don't have to do it because they don't make it already, but they choose to do it. And I think that's going to keep the youngsters having this hunger of playing the sport. I think that's very important as well too.
There's someone here in Australia. We know him very well, Dallas Thomas. He's saying good night. He wants us to have a happy new year. I know it is Tuesday already there in Melbourne in Australia, Dallas. We want to wish you all the best as well for the new year, and thanks for your well wishes as well. As the time is winding down, Michael, I know that a lot has been said about local sports and what is required. If I said to you, Michael Graves, you are going to be the Minister of Sports for 2 days, and I'm giving you time, I'm giving you a week to think about it and so forth, I want you to tell me 5 things that you would prioritize in sports here in Antigua and Barbuda. Remember, I said that you're going to be the Minister of Sports for 5 whole days, a week. And the authorities are saying to you, we're giving you 5 things that we're going to implement once you give us those 5 things. I want you to tell me, as the Minister of Sports, what are those 5 things that you would suggest to your government that you want to do that will have the biggest impact or have a large impact on sports here in Antigua and Barbuda? 5 things.
Right now? Well, the first thing I would do as Minister of Sports is the youths. I would try to invest in the youths.
I want you to tell me...
Like, break it down to you?
Yes, because invest in them. What do you mean by invest in them? Are you going to spend time with them? What do you mean? Because you have to give me something measurable so I can take it back and say, look, he wants to do this. Because if I go back and say, look, he wants to invest in the youth, they're going to say, how? What? By doing what? How? Or are you going to buy them a lot of watermelon? That is investing in them. Are you going to buy them a lot of go-karts? That is investing in them. Tell me what your opinion, and it is not my opinion.
Yes.
So don't say it so that I am impressed. Say it so Michael believe that these are the 5 most important things that will push sport forward in Antigua and Barbuda.
Okay, I will look to improve the facilities.
Beautiful.
I would look to improve the facilities in the respective sport. So whether that be basketball, football, cricket, I will look to improve those facilities, and then I would look to the youths. And you ask me how to invest in them. I would say probably prioritize getting coaches to venues. So I think I would do that. Yes. So prioritize getting coaches to certain venues and making people, because social media is very powerful. You can just say people in the village of Wilkies, there's an under 15 football, cricket, be here at this time, and I'm pretty sure people will come. So that's just two things, and then kind of put me on the spot here.
Just think back. Okay, I play cricket. What is it that is short that I can really develop more? You can look at it from that perspective, because remember, it is from your perspective. It doesn't have to be what the country needs.
Yes.
It is from my perspective what I would like to see put in place.
Okay, well, for me as a cricketer, I would like to play more cricket. Okay. So probably I'll implement something to play more cricket. I would definitely have a schedule. As the Minister of Sports, I would have a schedule set aside for the cricket and the football. The basketball don't really get in the mix because they play on a separate court. But the cricket and the football, it don't make sense to have a team playing football and the next team playing cricket on the same field. The pitch damaging up. The footballers, honestly, they don't really care because they can play on anything, but the cricketers can't really. So I will try my best to implement that. The scheduling. For me, I think playing more cricket, I think that is important. And playing quality cricket. So maybe I would like to play more quality cricket. So even if I'm playing against the best, I would like that. Or even if after the tournament already I might have a all-stars game or whatever the case may be, I'll try to put something in place for that, for the cricketers who really want to play the game or who really perform for that. So that's 3. Well, 4. So one more I can say. Maybe donate to the communities. Maybe something in terms of that can help boost the sporting facility. So if it's a roller or even if it's a couple foam rollers for like stretching or stretch bands, something that can help the community or the sport or the club. Yes, the club itself. I will probably try my best to do that. So that's the 5 things.
Okay, the important thing here is that you have named your 5. I'm going to ask you one last question. Do you believe that the ABC have too much teams in the competition, the competition?
Yes, I believe they have too much teams in both competitions, because we have to remember that we're a small island, and the quality, the numbers and the quality is not going to match. So you're not gonna get like in Australia, which is a bigger country than us. They're gonna have a very good teams at a high, and even if you look at them, they probably only have 8 professional teams from the numbers that they have. And we have 10. I don't think all of them is needed. If you really care about the sports, I don't think all of them is needed. And this is just my opinion. I think we can probably cut it down maybe for the 2-day, not much people play the 2-day, honestly. You see people playing short and the quality is not there. You want quality. You want your players, when they move on to the next level, that it's easier that, hey, boy, I don't face John that's outswinging the ball big. And I don't face someone who's left arm seaming it, or whatever the case may be. So you want that. You want people to already be ready. It's just not for them to face it, but they're already ready at that level. And I think that's the problem we have in the West Indies, and then it comes down all the way to the Leeward Islands, and then it goes down to the countries, India.
I think you're right. I believe that you have said a mouthful there. But funny enough, Mike, our time has elapsed. Just to say to the folks who have been listening and who have been participating, we want to thank you very much for spending this Monday night with us, first in the new year. We'll be back next week, Wednesday, when hopefully Arlene will be back, and we will continue through Lifelines. But I thought it was a very good contribution there from you, Michael. We want to thank you very much, and we hope that you have a wonderful season this year and that you would have met all your goals. Hopefully we'll see you again sometimes. So from here, hear from us, our technician, Auden Samuel, myself, and Michael Graves. We want to tell you to have a wonderful evening and all the best for 2025. We'll see you on Wednesday. Good night.